Hi everyone. Hi. I'm very nervous. I don't know why. My hands are literally sweating, but we are going to be doing a live today all about Black lives and just talking about the issues that Black people face and just how you guys can help because I had a lot of questions regarding how do we get involved, how do we help, how do we make a difference all the way from home, and especially because it is a pandemic and not everyone can go out and do things. So this is the live and it's going to be a productive conversation. I'm hoping that we can all learn from each other, and I'm going to have two friends join me today. I'm going to have Jade, who we love, and Renee as well, who's absolutely phenomenal. So without further ado, I'm going to add Jade. I'm hoping that she's here already. And I'm so nervous, my hands are sweating because I don't want to get this wrong. But yeah, let's go. Ooh, and also everyone try and grab a little drink. I have J2O in my 21 glass, even though I'm 22. And yeah, so grab something that you can drink and just chat and listen, and let's do this. Oh, I'm sweating. I'm hot. Okay, let's add Jade in. There she is. Oh, my hand. I don't know why. Oh, and also let's donate. Donate to the incredible foundation that's helping Black women deal with mental health issues and things.
Hello.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Wait, let me just turn you up. Sorry. Also, I don't have a drink. I feel do I go grab one?
I think you should grab one. I'm not gonna lie. You can take us with you if you want, but I think you should grab one because just.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know what? I think this time I'm just gonna have to go the dry mouth. We're just gonna leave it. But yeah, I know that you said you're nervous. Yes. I want to say I am really nervous too. I feel like we have just been trained to shy away from discussions like this, which is why I'm really glad that you asked me to do it because I think. Yes. It's important. So
I want everyone to know it's okay, you can discuss things. And we have an agenda because we're very professional over here, and you guys know this. So have a little notebook with the things I want to talk about, and obviously donate. Let's raise as much money as we can for the Loveland Foundation. And Jade actually recommended it, which is really cool. So yeah. Okay, so
can you talk more about the charity?
Yes. Tell us a little bit.
Oh, okay, sure. So I was trying to do some research, and it's actually really hard to find Instagram charities that are related to this issue. But this one was recommended by Rachel Cargill, who is an incredible Black influencer activist, and the Loveland Foundation kind of supports predominantly Black women, and it's for access, opportunities, supporting Black women. And it's just amazing. We've already got 5 donations.
I know.
Keep coming. That's
I know.
amazing.
This is very exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the charity. So donate if you can. Donate. And let's get straight into our agenda because I took all of your questions, guys. I noted it down, and we have a little structure, and then we'll open it up for questions. But obviously, comment all the way throughout if you want to. And we only have Jade until 7:30, so we've got to get it out of her right now. Okay. So the first part of this topic or this segment is going to be why should you help? A lot of people, which is a fair question I guess, are asking okay, I understand Black Lives Matter, but why should I care when I'm not Black? And that's an important question, so we're going to get into that. Then we're going to talk about how you can help. So a lot of you are saying, hey, I might not be able to donate, or what can I do from my bedroom as a student and I'm white, or whatever race you are, and you want to help the Black cause. Then we're going to get into how to challenge racism within your family if you feel you're at a dinner table and you want to have a conversation about racism, but you're a bit scared, or maybe your granddad or your uncle or your auntie or whoever makes an offhand comment and you're that's not right, but what do I do about it? We're going to get into that, and then we'll open up for questions, and then we've got book recommendations, and I have a whole heap of books here that you can read and stuff like that.
I have some too.
So yeah, we're going to get straight into it, and the first part is why should you help? So everyone's been asking what's the point and why should we do it? And my thing is this, you want to make sure you're not passive in the bad things that happen in the world, right? And you want to make sure that you support people that you do support. And if you love Black culture, you love Black music, you love the styles, you maybe sometimes even go to the hair shop or the food shop or anything, a lot of the stuff that we do in life is also influenced by Black culture, and you can't love the culture but then not love the people. And to love the people comes with loving the struggle too, in terms of you can't just have me for the highs. Like, you've got to take all of me, and a part of subscribing to V or entering V's world is there is the struggle that comes with it, which is race, and like you've got to be able to deal with that. So yeah, why you should is because you can't take the good and not the bad. Do you know what I mean? That's my thoughts on that. What about you, Jade?
I'm clicking in response to that. This is me showing my agreement. Okay. Honestly, everything you just said, 100%. I think it's like kind of crazy to me that it's even a question. Like, why should you care? Like, the fact that we even have to try and rationalize it just kind of shows how messed up everything is.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to provide a sort of white perspective, not because I want to like vocalize white opinions, I don't think this is the time, but just that if anyone who is white is watching this can kind of like relate.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a very white area, and at the age of like 10, I can remember saying to my mum, like, isn't it great that racism doesn't exist anymore? Because we were learning about slavery and like very overt racism in history. And quite frankly, racism definitely still exists, and it might not 100%. And we've seen that very overtly this week with George Floyd, and in America it can be really overt. But in the UK it is still an issue. And yeah, kind of as you're saying, like, it's not enough to be passive anymore. It's not enough to just not be racist, because just not being racist isn't going to do anything. And you have to like actively be anti-racist. We have to like actually do stuff. And
the reason also why like it's important for you to be vocal where you can. I'm going to use an example of like the LGBTQ community in terms of when the Pride parades are happening. We all go, like we all turn up, we all put the rainbows in our emojis on our phones and everything like that, and that's because we support our friends, like we are allies, right? But it doesn't stop at the parade. Like, I do not stop at the parades. It's every single day. If I hear someone make a comment, I'm like, excuse me, that was someone said that's not okay. The things that I support, the things that I listen to, if I hear that any show, I don't know, co-host person like who does a show or anything is racist or is homophobic, I'm like, okay, that's not for me anymore. If I just hear negative things around me to do with the LGBTQ community, I'm not having it. And people know that, like, someone, when they're around me, they just won't do it because they know V's not going to have it. And that's the same with racism and race. Like, you need to be someone that people know when Jade's in the room, we're not even going to try it with her because she's not going to have it. Even if no one black is in the room, you're going to stand up for people regardless. So that's why, because it's not just because Black Lives Matter is happening right now, I'm going to put it on my story and that's where it ends. No, the same way that you go to the parade and you carry on all year, every single day, you are not homophobic, is the same way that you should not be racist. Like, it all goes hand in hand, you know? It's all about people. So yeah.
You said
I don't know if that
that
was a good comparison, but that's the way I think about it in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it is helpful as well. I was going to say, to like draw parallels. I know with like feminism, you can also draw parallels, but no, you said that perfectly.
Thank you. And then how you can help. There are so many ways that you can help. And I think if you're a white person at home and you're wondering, I have a lot of black friends and I just don't know how to actually help them, by amplifying their voices. That's the most important thing. Like what Jade was saying, you can't make it about you. You've got to make sure you stick to the topic. And that's why when everyone's like, but all lives matter, that's why that's so problematic, because it's like, you just wouldn't do that about anything else, you know? You wouldn't go to a run for breast cancer and then be like, but all cancers matter. We know that. We know that. We understand that. Like, everybody knows that. It's just today we are running for breast cancer. So when we say Black Lives Matter and then someone says, but all lives matter, it's like, now you've just like, you shut
derailed the issue.
I can no longer say what I was saying because I know all lives matter, but like, that's not what we're discussing right this second. So when it comes to how you can help, it's amplifying the voices around you. If you know that someone has made a YouTube video that's really, really helpful and you can listen to that, share it on your story, retweet, say something, donate. There are just so many ways that you as a white person can still help regardless of you not being black. You don't need to be black to feel the pain or for you to feel that struggle of like, no, someone just got killed in broad daylight, that's not okay. For you to feel the anger, you don't need to be black. That's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. It's a life was taken, you know? And that just goes with everything to do with racism.
Retweet, preach, someone like write that down.
I'm so nervous. Oh my god. But that's how you can help. And how do you help, and what do you do, Jade? Like, how can people who are white help?
Yeah, I think one of the main things is like shutting up and listening. Like, it's so hard, I think, when you enter these spaces and these conversations when you have like never tried to talk about race, because you don't have the vocabulary to do it yet, and so it can be like scary. But if someone in your life who is Black is willing to have a conversation with you, firstly, like, that's flipping amazing. It's not their job. And secondly, like, just listen. Like, if you feel uncomfortable, like, lean into that, and like, I don't know, just keep listening is something that I'm trying to actively do. And like, I have definitely made mistakes with that in the past, and like made it more about me, or like tried to defend me not being racist, instead of like staring myself in the face and being like, am I racist? Like, what does that mean? What is the world around us? And have I been taught to subconsciously have like racist ideals because the people we're in?
And I think you spoke about it so well in your latest video, Jade, when you said racism, it's a spectrum, like everything in life. You can just never have like a hard this and a hard that. There's always an in between. And with things like racism, like, you just might not realize it, like the way that you think that you do, or like you said, crossing the street when you see a Black person in a hoodie, like you might not even, it's just instinct, like, oh. And it's like, why did you do that? If you really think about that deeply, like, why? Oh, is it because you thought, oh, I might be in danger because I got Black skin? Or you just don't even realize some of these things. And it's just learning to tune into that and being uncomfortable, really saying, am I racist? What do I do on a day-to-day? And I said it in my video, you've got to wake up every day and say, I am making the decision to make sure I am an ally, to make sure that I am doing everything I can to dismantle the system that was built that favors me. And I'm going to do my best to make sure my friends, people around me, people who don't even know me, like people who are strangers in the world, who are wherever they are, that they know I'm with them. And it's something that you have to work on constantly, happen overnight, you know. You can't, it's not easy to unlearn that stuff, but it takes time, and you got to put in the work.
I just want to say as well, so like, even in this conversation, I don't feel very well versed, or like I have like, you know, a valid opinion to share, or like I still am like terrified talking about this stuff. And this is after I have been, after like 2 years, like really consciously trying to learn and educate myself. And like, you know, when I go on bike rides, I listen to like Code Switch, which is a great podcast about race, and reading books and consuming media and listening to Black voices. Good, but it is like a continuous process.
Oh my god, it's a continuous process.
It's work.
I'm sorry to draw the parallel again, but even because I pride myself in how well I make sure I am an ally within the LGBTQ community, so that's why I keep using that as a comparison. But even then, every day I'm like learning things that I shouldn't say, that I can't say, new terms, to make sure the people around you know I am doing the very best I can to make sure I accommodate you, that I understand you, and that I do what's right. And like, it's not even, like I said, about someone in the room being Black or being LGBTQ, but it's about you just within yourself knowing, like, I'm making the biggest effort that I can to be the best version of myself. And that comes with learning and relearning, and sometimes getting things wrong and having someone tell you, hey, that's not right. Like, me and Jade have those conversations all the time, and it's just like, it has to be open, you know. So there's that.
Retweet.
Okay, so talking about challenging people around you who might just be overtly racist, like they just don't even care. They're not even trying to hear you or trying to learn. They're just making offhand comments and all that kind of stuff. And it apparently, from the messages that I got, it tends to be people in your family and things like that. And obviously, I've never really experienced that. Do you know what I mean? And that's something to me as well. Like, I don't know if it's because people that I'm around just, they understand. I don't know what it is, but I haven't yet had to deal with someone close to me who's racist. So yeah, that's how do people have these conversations with their families, their uncles, aunties, whoever it is? And I think it's a matter of letting them know, like, you're ready to have that conversation, and that you're not gonna sit there and allow it to happen, because apparently it happens at Christmas and things like that, when it's at a family table, someone makes a joke, and you need to be like, what did you mean by that, and why did you say it? Do you know what I mean? You got to be comfortable and uncomfortable to call people out. because otherwise, I don't know, you're kind of, by allowing it, you're playing a part in it. And if your family member, maybe your uncle's the CEO of, sorry guys, I make lots of like metaphors and examples, but maybe your uncle is the CEO of a really cool bank or something, and he might be quite racist in the way that he thinks and speaks. If you call him out on that Christmas dinner and he asks you why, and then you explain, hey, by the way, it's wrong because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and by the end of that Christmas weekend, he's like, oh, do you know, I get it a little bit. When he goes back to work, he is an employer. When he's now hiring, he might have changed his ways, and he just don't know how you're impacting, you know. So I think it's really important to call people out because it can help.
100%. Yeah, I was gonna say, to that point, I know it can be really uncomfortable and really hard because, like, I have tried to have these conversations and like actively try and do this. Like, I do live in a white family, and a lot of it isn't that people are a bad person. You know, like, people can be a very nice person, but because of the way they've been raised, systems that are around, the people they've surrounded themselves with can have these like racist mentalities. So I think it's helpful to like separate, this is like a really nice person who I love and I care about, but this is also problematic and like goes against my views and what is necessary in the world to make the world a better place for other people. And then trying to like tackle this part without like forgetting that you still love them. And I think a really like easy way to do that, if you are still learning yourself and maybe aren't confident enough yet to have the conversations, is like, if your family are like, oh hey, let's watch a film, you can like suggest, oh hey, why don't we watch like The Hate You Give, or
I love
film,
that.
like,
That is like slip it in there.
Start conversations.
That's smart. I used to do that with myself and like my family when we just like didn't want to eat vegetables, and I'd kind of like hide them in food. Do you know what I mean? Like, you still have the vegetables, but like, it's, you know, you gotta
exactly.
Like,
it's like good film, entertainment. Like, it's gonna be fun.
That's
but you're gonna learn, and then like after you can come up with like an interesting question to ask, or you know, like call people out then if they are making comments about the film that are kind of problematic.
Or even as you're like reading, right? So when you're reading a book and you find something out that you're like, okay, this is like really interesting and cool and a really good perspective that puts things into perspective, just be downstairs and be like, guys, guess what I just read in this book? Did you know that EFG and that this them from this and that? So you act like you're just like letting them know what you've discovered, but really you're trying to teach them. And like, because I know it's difficult, like, those conversations are not easy when it's like your uncle or your granddad and they're set in their ways, and you've got to try and like help undo that. So
I also just wanted to quickly say, so one of the people who's really close in my life is Chinese, and obviously like there's like a generational respect that comes with like parents and elders, and that's where it's even more uncomfortable, because it's like, how do you challenge someone in your life when there is this respect that needs to be had? So like, I just want to like quickly say, like, we recognize that like it can be really hard, but it's still so important to try and do. And like you said, oh sorry, I was gonna say, like sharing a random fact you found, like send them random videos you found, you know, like you see something trending and you're like, this is interesting, let's just like WhatsApp it to them.
And because also, like you said in your video before, people might be living in an echo chamber. Like, I have traveled before and met people who are literally like, oh my god, like, look at the, like, they've just never seen a black person. Like, you know, to me that's crazy, but there are people who live in a space where like they're just not seeing some things. And I think if you've seen things that have shocked you, that have like enraged you enough to donate or to go online and to scream and shout about what's going on, maybe they'll feel the same when they see what you see, you know what I mean? So sending them, like what Jade's saying, sending those videos, sending those articles, like letting them know, hey, have you seen this? Just because maybe they just aren't seeing it, which to me, I can't understand that, because obviously I think I'm just around such a diverse group of people and my social media and stuff and what I choose to follow, but some people just haven't had that exposure, I guess. I don't know, but that's how we would deal with racist family members. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I was saying, can I ask you a follow-up question? Because I'm just like reading the comments. Like, what do you do if you are having that conversation with someone and it doesn't seem to be getting anywhere, and like it's, maybe you are watching the film and someone has a perspective which is like quite deeply rooted in racism and is like really hard to get past, what do you do?
You've got to, this is a saying in like in my community, I don't know if it will like make sense, but like you've got to choose the hill you want to die on. Do you know what I mean? Like you've really got to choose battles. And if you're talking to someone who you can clearly see there is no changing them, this is someone set in their ways completely, the conversation is just gonna hurt you, and also just like it's just gonna throw you off, and it's not gonna help. Sometimes you've got to say, do you know what, this is not for me, and leave it, because not every battle can be won. And also you can't exhaust yourself. It's not your job to teach people constantly. Like you can if you want to, like me and Jade are here because we have educational channels, we love to do this is what we want to do, but it's actually not your job. Like Google is free, remember that. Google is absolutely free, and if people don't want to learn and they don't want to find out and research, it's not your job. And if you can hear someone is set in their ways, leave it alone. Like you honestly, you can't exhaust yourself, and you just can't.
Can I just add to that? I think that's a really nice way you put it. And I think the only thing that you can therefore control is educating yourself.
Yes.
So it's like, even though you might not be able to change that person fully, you still have yourself. And like that goes a long way. Like the more work you do on yourself, the more that like you will be able to spread that to other people. And even if there's one person in your life, you try and you try and you try and you try it again, and they're still seeming to be set in their ways, like you can always still do more for yourself.
Yeah, that is true. I like that. And in terms of like the next part, I guess it's now our book recommendations, and then just taking a few questions that like will be flying in. So let's start with yours, because I saw that your pile was a little bit smaller. No shade, you know.
Okay. Oh, I'm not ready to do. I'm actually a big fan of podcasts as well. I think
nice. You can recommend those.
Yes. I think this is a
I have my copy
classic.
Here. Every student needs to have a copy of this book. Why I'm no longer talking to white people about race. And it's quite cool because the white people part is like faded out, if you can see, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty book as well. Like you want this on your shelf, you know?
Oh, it's gorgeous. And obviously some of us mess our books up, but you know, it is what it is.
Yes.
It's a really good book, and I'd recommend. Do you want to talk about it or no?
I was going to say this is, I think, the first book I ever read on my journey to trying to unpack race and my position in the world. I think it's both blunt and to the point, but also is like a nice guiding way in if you have never tried to think about things. Yeah, do you want to talk to the content more, because I feel like you would do it better than me.
Yes, so this book is really, really great. It's by Rennie Edo-Lodge, and she wrote it when it started off as like, I think it was more of a blog post that then blew up into a book, but she was kind of annoyed about going to work and constantly talking about why her hair was the way it was. Like everyone wanted to touch it, and people asking her, do you tan, do you not tan? Just asking her lots of like little things that built up into big things. So she was like, I can't really get angry because someone touched my hair, but it's niggling at me. It's like, it's annoying. And there was a whole host of things that were happening that she found really annoying, and she put it into a book. And she was like, do you know what? From now on, I'm just not going to talk about race with white people anymore, because they get really defensive. It becomes a situation where they're trying to prove why they're not, and yah. So she put it all into a book, and it's so educational, this book. She talks about microaggressions, intersectionality, the history of like Britain, and why white people have like innate racism in them that they have to unlearn and like undo. And she just really puts it well. She puts it in words that I can articulate, because I sometimes speak from emotion and passion, and she kind of puts it into words that people can understand. So yeah, I would really recommend this as well. What's your next one?
My other one is less like black focus, more like general people of color. It's Brit-ish. British Brit. Oh, she's got it. Such a good book.
Oh my god.
Yes. I also just want to say, like, the two I've chosen here are more Britain focused, which I was actually seeking out.
Which is good,
yeah.
So I feel like when we discuss things like race issues and Black Lives Matter and things, we normally make it very American centric, because obviously that's a lot more louder on the news than what happens in Britain, and because it's a lot more overt there, but it's still happening there. And yeah, I would really recommend these books. This book is so good. It's by Afua Hirsch. She's phenomenal. She's amazing, and she's so unapologetic about how she says what she says, and it's just great. And she talks about her perspective of being a mixed race woman in Britain. So she's both white and black, and just how the two identities conflict and how people try to put her in a box and all of these different things. And it's just, you can't read these books and like come out the same. Do you know what I mean? Like I went in because I'm black and I've gone through it, but when I read these books, I was like, okay, there was still a lot to learn. So I highly recommend.
Definitely. Right, now educate me. What are these other books? Show me the pile.
Right, so I'm just gonna go through these quickly, but this one, Taking Up Space by Ore, our wonderful friends. They're amazing. This book is incredible, especially for students who are experiencing university and things of that nature. Like, it just discusses how their experience in Cambridge has been shaped by their race, and where normally people go to Cambridge and it's the best uni in the world and like that's the focus, for them it like changes because they're black and their experience is completely different. And yeah, they just talk about lots of different things and lots of ways that you can like help the situation, and white people can read this and really learn from it, as well as black girls being their manifesto. So I'd recommend this.
Didn't you give like everyone at your meetup one of those? Was it that book? It was, yeah.
I gave that book. Then I have this one called Diversify by June Sarpong, who's also very, very, very amazing. And she just talks all about why diversity is like something that just helps everybody, and how fighting racism is just everyone's gonna win from it. Like, just she just puts it bluntly. She removes emotion from it. She's like, just by facts, like this is why everybody should be fighting for this, because it's important, and it's not a me problem, it's an us problem, you know. And yeah, I love this book. So I just have a few of these other two, but I recommend them, but like start with the other ones. Do you know what I mean? This one's called How to Argue with a Racist, and this one's called Something. So yeah.
Amazing. And also I think it can feel like kind of overwhelming if people are like, here are 200 resources, like go. Like you're not likely to do any of them. So if people here just pick like at least one of these books and like, actually read it, engage with it, I think that's really powerful. Like do the introspective work. Yeah,
very true. And I guess we'll take a few quick questions because we only have Jade for a few minutes, which is very sad. Wait, I can see a thing that says question mark, and it's got like, is that, let me just click it.
But you can get the questions from like your story and stuff as well.
Oh, that's so cool. So cool. Okay, so I haven't got my glasses. Let's see.
Also, you will be saving this live, right?
Yeah, 100%. How can you tangle? I think you can receive questions. Can you guys see that? No, I don't know if you can see that, but it said, oh, dang it, what did it say? One sec.
Also, we've made £688.
Oh,
can
yeah,
we just
let's
say
that. That's really. Shall we try and get it to 700 before Jade goes? Because I think
100%.
that's a good mark. So, like, let's go, guys. Let's get it to 700 before Jade goes. And
also, V, you can view who has donated. Start shouting out some names of accounts of people who donated. Do it.
Let's do this. So we've got Ruby Palin. Thank you for your donation. We've got Grace K. We've got Hillary Key. We've got Fit Mom. We've got Nina, Kathy, Ella, Carlton, Rachel.
We're at 713.
Oh my god, that's so cool. We've got Astrid. We've got Pelagia. Oh my god, so many people have donated so much. We've got Mary. Oh, she donated a lot of money. Wow.
Oh, Mary.
Okay. So the last question that I saw was, someone said, how do we get over that I'm not racist thing? And I think we touched on that already, but if you want to like get into it again, just how do people detach from feeling like, oh my god, I'm a bad person because I have this thought, whatever.
Yes. Okay. This is something I talk about in my recent video. I recommend checking that out. But yeah, I think as white people, we often like to defend ourselves as like not being racist, instead of like staring ourselves in the face, being like, okay, I have grown up into a system which systematically oppresses certain people, and like I do benefit from that system as a white person. Therefore, even if I'm not overtly racist, I probably do have some kind of racist ideals, and you need to work actively to rewrite those mindsets, and then also to combat the systems around you.
It's true. And someone said, how like do they not feel bad about their privilege? And I think I can also help answering this in terms of there are many privileges that everybody has over other people. Obviously, in this case, we're talking about white privilege versus black people who don't have that privilege. And I think it's acknowledging that you have it, because a lot of people are in denial about it. A lot of people. So you've got to make sure you acknowledge it first. That's the first step. Admit it, acknowledge it, look in the mirror and say, because I'm white, I know that from birth, the same day I was born and a black person was born, from that moment there, I already had the upper hand before I could even speak. Okay, so acknowledging and understanding that. And then as you go through life, realizing when you are in a position where your privilege will play a very big part in trying to make sure you ensure that someone else who doesn't have that kind of comes along, like trying to make sure you keep opening up space, keep inviting people into conversation, same way that men should be aware that sometimes women are ignored when they're in their presence, and a girl can say an answer and a boy will say it, and everyone's like, well done to the boy. So if a boy understands that, they should say, hey, well, from what I heard from this girl right here who said it first, da 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 da. So if you're white, realize that you're in a position of privilege and that you have the upper hand in a situation, try to always acknowledge that and remedy that, like try to like fix it, you know, try to always actively dismantle those systems around us. That's my opinion.
That was powerful. Thank you for that. Thank you. Also, V, we're nearly at 800.
This is getting
We just smashed that like 100 over in like 1 minute.
Oh my god.
Madness.
We didn't even set a goal. That's crazy.
Wait, you've got Renee coming on straight after,
yes,
right?
Yes. So, by the way, everyone, so you know, when Renee comes on, just so you know what the agenda is, in case some of you are ready to like leave, stay with us. We've got some cool things coming.
Oh my god, stay. Everyone has to stay. Renee she is incredible.
Renee's phenomenal. So Renee's going to be talking about why the term people of color is not great to use to mix stuff in Black lives. She's going to talk about why the term All Lives Matter is not great right now when we try to talk about Black lives once again. We're going to talk about racist platforms and what to do when you realize that maybe the places you shop, or maybe places like, I don't know, TikTok, not wanting anyone to kind of talk about what was going on in the States, and just what to do when you encounter racist places and like how you can help. And then just talking about more book recommendations for her, because she's really cool and she knows a lot. So that's what we're doing.
I am going to be staying. That sounds amazing.
Thank you. And I hope she's here now. Renee, are you here? Comment down below if you're with us, because we don't know. And we love Renee. We love her. What did my sister say? She said, V, can you put a pinned comment so everyone knows why you are
we're here, like, talking about? That's clever.
Oh, what should I put?
If you want, you just keep doing the live. I'll like type something when you get rid of me, and then you can just pin it.
Oh yeah. Cool. That's
okay. Cool.
Okay, so Renee, Renee's here. Okay.
Hey.
All right, so I'm gonna get Renee on now because she's phenomenal. We love her. I just love her. She's so cool.
Same.
She did Oxford, she did Harvard, and now she's like on the internet just teaching us and preaching us a really cool blog post where she posts all about how to just try to be a better person, and we just love her. And she's coming on now, and we've got her till 8 o'clock. So
thank you for having me. Thank you for just doing this. You're incredible.
Thank you. I love you so much. Okay. And I'll talk to you when it's over, okay?
Yeah, see you.
Bye. Okay, so now we're going to get Renee in straight away and we're going to continue the party. Renee, can you call me? Oh, I can see you. Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Is she here? Guys, I think we can get to £1,000. I don't know if that's crazy or if that's too much, but Renee!
Hey, miss, it's been a minute. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh my God, we need your wisdom. We need your knowledge. Like, I'm already excited that you're just here, but I think these lives are like an hour long, so I need to like get into it with you straight away before it like tries to cut off. But the introduce you. This is Renee.
You're good. You're totally good.
She's really, really awesome. She has an incredible network that she's doing right now called the Flyover Net, and I love it. I'm always seeing all the stuff that she's posting. She graduated from Oxford, which is so cool, and then she went into Harvard, which is phenomenal. And now she's always like teaching us how to just be better humans and how to like confront the uncomfortable things about how to either manage your time, how to save your money, or how to like help dismantle the systems around us that are racist. So this is Renee, and we're going to get into it with everything. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so why do you think that the term people of color is problematic, or especially when you're talking about Black Lives Matter and everyone's like, people of color matter, and you're like, okay, but we're just so yeah, let's just go.
I hear that. Before I even get into, my answer, first of all, I just want to say big up to you and Jade. Yeah, I was watching you guys live.
Thank you.
Jade probably can hear me. Sis, I hope you're doing well. It was good to see you and good to see you guys having this like necessary and pertinent conversation. So yeah, big up you guys for using your platform to be able to, cover these kind of topics. Yeah. But now the infamous term POC, Black and Minority Ethnics, BAME, BME, whatever you want to call it. So the biggest issue that I have with POC terminology when we're addressing something like Black Lives Matter is the fact that it's kind of adjacent to, the same issues that we've had when we're talking about, the All Lives Matter situation where, we are specifically looking at a very, very distinctive topic, and this kind of waters down, the focus for the moment, as well as the fact that historically there have been a lot of Black communities and a lot of Black influencers, a lot of Black political activists that have mobilized around Blackness, and there is this hyper visibility of the Black struggle when we're talking about issues to do with race. And oftentimes there are a number of minorities that can sometimes use the Black struggle as proxy for their experiences, when it's actually very, very racism is very expansive, right? It's not just a Black and white issue. Sometimes, we have issues of, whiteness and, the Asian identity. And that's a whole very different complex. Even within the Asian identity, that's a whole complex mammoth to deal with. So to now use POC as a term to encompass everything that everyone is feeling towards, white supremacy or like issues of race is just kind of wrong, in my opinion. Yeah. As well as the fact that we also need to have the awkward conversation about the manifestations of anti-Blackness in, people of color communities or, non-white communities that are not Black. It's a conversation that's awkward to have, but necessary to have, because there's a lot of communities of color that are actively anti-Black, and to now co-opt the Black struggle just doesn't really feel right to me. So that's kind of like the big issues around POC-ness and BAME type terminology.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, like I said earlier with Jade, it's just important that when you're discussing something, just let people discuss what they're discussing. And if you're discussing Black issues, like that's what we're discussing right this second, And I think when you say the term people of color in that moment, I don't know, it's kind of like it's bringing something that we're not discussing right now. And it doesn't mean that these issues are not prominent. It doesn't mean that they don't matter. It just means today, just for this second, like let us know what we're talking about. And I just don't know how else to articulate that, because I got a lot of it in my DMs like, yeah, but why are you not talking about this and this? And I'm like, but right now, what we're all just focusing on, like, just let it be that, But that, I think you put it very well. I don't know what else I could even add to that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much psychological stress that comes with trying to focus on so many problematic issues at the same time. We can only the human brain can only focus on something for a certain amount of time. And that's not to say that these issues are not important, but it's more so a case of, do you know what, we're dealing with this right now, we're going to deal with this one later as well. Like, don't worry, we're coming for you. We're coming for white supremacy at all angles. That's not a problem. But right now we're focusing on the Black struggle. Yeah. And we're also, holding this tension of, yes, we are all collectively fighting against white supremacy. Yes, we're all collectively fighting against racism and all of these various systems, but we're also actively gunning for anti-Blackness in POC communities. Like, we're gunning for that too, make no mistake. So,
and I think also what brought this up was obviously like watching that murder of George Floyd happen, and it was like the policemen that were watching it happen, you were like, wait a minute now, Like, if we're gonna be put in a term together, like, we've got to make sure we help each other. And right there was representation of that was separate. It was a black man being called by a white man, and people were watching that could have been helping that didn't. So, like, I think that's where, like, that also the conversation of that came from. The next question that we have for you is, why is it a problem for people to say, I don't see color? When someone says, hey, oh my God, I love you so much, and I don't see color, so don't worry about it. Like, I don't even see that you're black. I don't see it. Why is that a problem? Because I know it's a problem. Because if you don't see color, you don't see me. Full stop. So, what are your thoughts on that?
There's a couple of issues with that term, and I have faced it many a time in my heyday, and I have very little tolerance for it now. The first one being, it's really cute and it's really nice that you profess not to see color, but the reality of the situation is we live in a society that does. So you negating the fact that you don't see color does not negate the fact that in society I am racialized as a black person, or, you know, whatever minority I am. And it's very difficult to change that. You don't get to change your identity in the eyes of society.
Yeah.
So it's cute. Like, I appreciate you that you're not seeing me for color. But the reality of the situation is, you know, a policeman is not going to see it that way. The reality of the situation is, you know, when I am applying to a job or a university institution, I'm ticking black. I'm not ticking I don't see color.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really frustrating because a lot of our engagements and a lot of the ways that we navigate this world is through color, whether or not you like it, whether or not you profess to see it or not. Bottom line is, I can't run away from my blackness. Listen, I would love to. Sometimes I would really, really love to, but I cannot.
It's impossible.
Not in this world. Like, we are literally, when we talk about systems,
when you go through that, like, airport, for example, they see color for sure. When you're in that police station and the way they're treated, they see color for sure. And when people are being racist to you, they're seeing color for sure. So when you don't see it, you don't see the struggle that I'm going through. So it's
100%. And this whole idea that, you know, you can't, it's almost as though you believe that you've transcended the implicit bias that you have as well, right? This whole idea of like, oh, I can't see race, so, you know, I'm not racist at all. It's just you deferring. It's just you trying to run away from the fact that, hey, I am black. And sometimes, you know, the way you engage with me is as a black person or as a black subject. It's just not something you can get away from. And I just feel like it is a cop-out in some situations and in some ways of dealing with the fact that there are some implicit biases that you actually have to deal with as well. Right? So yes, you don't see color, but the way that you engage with me might be rooted in the fact that I am racialized as a black subject. Like, you can say I don't see color, but I'm sure that if I have my afro out, you're gonna notice. You can claim not to see color, right? You can claim it. But the reality of the situation is that color is the way that a lot of us navigate our realities. And also, it really annoys me because it diminishes race to just color. Race is not just color.
My God. This is why I love you.
Race is not just color. If it were that simple, then we would have gotten rid of racism a long time ago. Race is not just color. Race is a social construct. It is the way in which people are admitted into society. It is a whole belief system about, you know, ethnicities and nationalities and heritage. Color and phenotype, the way that you look, is just one aspect of race. So when you say that I don't see color, I'm like, God, I'm really, because racism is more than color. It's not just color.
Are you with us, Renee? We need you back. We need you. We need you. We need you. We all need you, Renee. Internet, be on our side. Or is she just frozen for me and I'm the only one that I'm just talking over her? She's talking right now. I don't know. But we need you, Renee. We need you. 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 Guys, is she frozen or is it just me? Are you back? Are you back?
Whoops.
Renee? Please, internet gods, wherever you are.
I'm back.
Thank you, Lord. I can't do this on my own. I can't lose you. We can't lose you. Everyone's like, we need you, Renee. And just to pause, Renee, right there, like, for everybody who thinks I'm crazy when I'm constantly putting this girl on my story, constantly talking about her in my videos. Like, I think everyone thinks I'm obsessed with you, which I low-key am, but I hope you can see why. Like, she's just a barrel of wisdom, and I think it's just the way she
get out of here.
does it, and like you learn from her, you know. So I'm sorry, carry on. Like, you carry on. What are you saying?
No, it is. It's so mind-boggling. That whole admission, I don't see color. Again, it's really cute. I appreciate what you're trying to do here, but it's not going to work. There are bigger things to deal with, and the fact is that race isn't just interpersonal. It's not just about whether you see color or not. Again, it's about whether the majority of people see color. You know, it's about whether we have access to the same opportunities. That I can, you know, walk into a store without being followed by security, see notions about people that look like me, sound like I have some kind. So
Yeah,
it's really all.
it's true. It's absolutely true, and okay, no, you're back. No, it's true. I agree with you. And even like what Jade and I were talking about earlier, when people say either I didn't see color or either I'm racist, I'm not racist. It's like, no.
He's racist. I'm telling you,
guys, I don't know what's happening to the internet. I'm gonna add her off. I'm gonna take her off and add her in because the internet is lagging. I don't know why. But I hope you guys can see why she is just phenomenal. Like, I just absolutely adore her. And we're almost at 1,000. So let's do this, guys. Let's get to 1,000 donations. We have 10 minutes left of our live, and we have Renee. So start firing away the questions because clearly, as you can see, she can answer them for us. So I'm going to add her back in. And yeah, Renee needs to run for Prime Minister ASAP. We need her. Okay, I think she's adding in. Any more questions that you have, guys, please put them down below and Renee can answer them. I just don't, that's my mentor. I don't want you guys, I don't want to hear that you're poaching my mentor. Like, love her from a distance because she's my mentor, and I love the woman. She's amazing, and you should all follow her after this because truthfully, she's spitting wisdom every single day. It's not adding Renee anymore, and I don't know why. Like, I think her internet keeps saying waiting. I'll wait for her to call me, okay? But in the meantime, any questions for me that you'd like? But overall, I hope that this live so far has been useful in understanding that all of these things they're inherent, they already exist. It's not your fault, but you do have a part to play, and that you've got to be willing to play your part and willing to help dismantle those systems that are institutionally racist and acknowledge the privilege that you have because you do have it. And yes, so I'm going to try and see if we can add Renee in because I don't know what happened to her internet, or maybe it's mine. It could be my internet. Oh, you're back. I don't know what happened. Truthfully, I don't know.
I don't know if you've been seeing on like Twitter that anonymous hacker that's going around. It must be him. I'm telling you, it must be him.
They're like, oh no, they're talking too much. Yeah, I feel like that's what's happening. Okay, we have Renee back. So, do you have any like burning questions that you want her to answer? Because the last thing that I have on here is asking her for her book recommendations and asking what we can all be doing, especially if you're white, on a not a daily basis per se, but like what you can do regularly to try and make sure you're unlearning those things. So if you have any more burning questions, put them in. And in the meantime, yeah, what can people do to make sure that they undo what was historically done and what's inherent and what's just factually just there? How do you undo racism, basically?
Undo. I wish we could just do click Control Z. I think the first thing that is important, and you know that a lot of people have been saying, is the work and read and educate yourself. It's very, very costly, and there's a lot of emotional labor involved for minority communities when it comes, you know, pointing to resources, to you know, read and stuff, is essentially it's not even just about, oh, I'm helping you out, but I'm literally trying to justify my humanity.
Oh,
You, in all honesty, it should be you going out of your way trying to learn more about my community, or like, you know, my stuff. Like, you have to meet us halfway. We can't be spoon feeding you
yeah.
any kind of like information and education. You need to be active in, you know, reading these things. And even in terms of allyship, right? Allyship is a tough one, because on the one hand, there are, you know, the people that, you know, stay silent, or, you know, the people that actively profit from, you know, putting on the Black aesthetic, or their proximity to Black friends or Black culture or anything like that, and they don't say anything, you know.
And I've seen a lot of that.
Yo, that's a problem, because you can't, for us, right? We can't pick and choose what can't.
You can't take
it
it off
at all. So being cognizant of the fact that, you know, you have the capacity to choose how, you know, close you are to Blackness. We need to see you with it all. Okay, we need to see you. I don't want to see you guys like retweeting like hip hop stuff and Black culture stuff, but then when it comes to struggle, you have to have some consistency if you're going to be close to Black communities or Black people. And then you have the people, you know, allies, but they're excessive. Oh my gosh, let this live not again.
I said no. I'm telling you, the powers that be are trying to stop Renee from speaking, because they know she's speaking.
Yo, I'm telling you, that hacker quick just before Anonymous again. The allies that take it too far press you guys too as well. The ones that are speaking over Black communities. If you have a platform, it's not just about giving your opinion, it's about giving space for others to actually give, you know, their opinion. There are loads of grassroots organizations that are doing the work. There are loads of communities. There are loads of, you know, things that are already existing. It's not about starting something new. It's about, you know, trying to platform what's been there for ages. Like literally ages. So don't just rush to kind of like put out a statement. Think about it. Think about, you know, the organizations that are doing the work. Think about the communities that are already, you know, doing loads of things. That's the real why people are tired. Like, I don't know about you guys, but majority of my Black friends, the things that they're posting are not, you know, necessarily just donate. They're saying I'm tired, because we've been doing this. We've been doing this for years now. So please try and platform other voices, center other voices, use your privilege for good. And then I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, that is well. I don't know if you can hear the crowd going wild, Renee, but they're going absolutely wild, because you're correct, and I have nothing else to follow on that. But I think we've lost Renee again, because her thing's doing this. But if she comes back, she'll come back. But oh, you're here. You're back. But we have just hit £1,000. Can we all just take a second? £1,000 in under 1 hour? I'm sorry. What? That's amazing. And yeah, I guess. Oh, Renee, you're lagging, Renee. I can't even hear you. Huh?
That is so
Oh, I think wait, guys, I'm gonna have to add her again, because it's again, like mine is completely frozen. Okay, I'm sorry, Renee, I had to take you out because it just kept lagging. We just hit 1,000. We hit 1,000, and I don't know what to say. And we have literally 5 minutes left of this live. So if you still have it in your heart to donate, this is going to go to an amazing charity that works to help Black women and girls, and it's phenomenal. Helps give them counseling, helps tackle mental health and stuff. And we wanted to donate to a channel to a platform, an organization that is directly helping to impact and better the lives of Black people. So you guys have just literally raised £1,000. amazing. Okay, so we've came to the end of our live, and sorry Renee, I had to take you off like that, but it was lagging. But thank you to Renee and Jade, like phenomenal people who I think you guys can see why I love them and surround myself with people like that, because they're constantly teaching me and constantly willing to learn and things. So that is amazing. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say. I can see all the messages. I couldn't read them earlier because I was trying to focus. But if you have anything to say now, I can read, and I'll read it out loud. I don't know. But I hope that was helpful. Was it helpful? Obviously an hour is really quick, but we can do more lives. That's something we can do. Bless you, V and Jade and Renee. Oh, thank you. Oh, that feels so sweet. Well done, V. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, yes, book recommendations. Oh, guys, I think Renee's going to write you some book recommendations. And I'm keeping this live. I'm going to keep it somewhere. I don't know where or how, because I don't know technology, but I'm going to keep it so you can always like go back. And also I'm going to post an Instagram post after this, and I'll put what Renee says for book recommendations in there. Oh, Renee's bringing in those book recommendations. She's bringing them in. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We've all just got to like come together and work together. If you love me when I'm like happy and smiley, you got to love me when things get hard too. And right now, this is the time when, if you are an ally and you are dedicated to making sure you help Black people, this is the time to step up. Like, you've got to, you got to step up. And if it makes you uncomfortable, you've got to be uncomfortable, So, yeah, I'm just reading the messages. This is so sweet. Oh my God. Hello. Bye.